I remember as soon as we flew out, we flew into the Zimbabwe airport and stuff, and I remember finally thinking that this was getting a little bit more like what I was expecting. You come in and it's a small runway with you see little like broken down rusted planes out on the side and the trees, and drive into Zimbabwe, and it was looking more like I would have expected from going to Africa kind of thing. But Zimbabwe was beautiful and stuff, and I spent 12 hours there in Zimbabwe just to go to meet the mission president and to have a little interview with him and figure out where exactly I was going to be for the next transfer, at least, in the next 6 weeks or so. And so I guess they had a mission home there. It was pretty cool. It was kind of a rundown little mission, well, not the mission home, but like where the missionaries were staying. It was kind of a rundown little place, pretty cool. And then we were there for just a few hours and flew out early in the morning to Zambia. And I went up to an area known as the Copper Belt, into a place called Kitwe. And it was really cool to go up that far. You start driving out and you drive through some what you would expect to be kind of jungly areas. They put roads through getting up there, and you get to see a lot while you're driving out. And I guess we flew into Zambia, into Lusaka, and then drove from there. So it was about 5 hours up from there, and it was neat coming in and meeting the missionaries that were there. There was 4 of us that were living together at the time right there, and in Kitwe, and most of them were centered right in the city of Kitwe, and we had one area called Kawama that was out probably, I guess it was probably about 30, I guess it was a 30-minute drive for the most part, but it seemed a lot further, getting out there every day. We had to take what they called combis, just kind of these vans they turned into buses and stuff, going out every day, and it was really neat serving out there. And found, especially in that little village area out there, the people were extremely humble and extremely friendly, and they actually had a group that was meeting there, and I didn't know that they did groups. I'd never heard of a group before, as opposed to a branch or a ward, but they were meeting in a schoolhouse for a while there, and it was where they were meeting. It was really hard to hear. Like, you could hear all these other churches would meet in the other rooms of the schoolhouse, and I guess if anybody knows much about the Pentecostal churches out there and stuff, they're very loud. And so I remember the first day in church there, I was sitting in the front bench and I couldn't even hear the person 5 feet away from me speaking, and so that was pretty interesting, and I think there were I want to say maybe 20 people there the first day at the most, if that, and stuff. But it grew very quickly in Kawama, and we finally got a new place where you could actually understand what the people were saying in front of you, and that was very, very interesting place to serve. Very, very neat place to meet the people and to get to know them. And at the time, the group leader was actually a blind man by the name of Brother Alex, and he was an extremely spiritual guy, and he put every bit of effort of his life into serving the branch there, and one of the guys that he was teaching the most, I think, became the branch president when it finally did become a branch, and we used to call him Brother Chris and stuff. And but they were extremely spiritual guys. They'd give everything and all their time just to serve. I mean, every time we'd come up, they'd at least have 1 or 2 people that would go around with us and go throughout the village, introducing us to their friends and people they knew, and teaching with us while we went, and translating as well. We had to have translators there. I guess in Zambia there was 72 different languages just in Zambia, and so missionaries just stick with English, but unfortunately we need translators occasionally to translate a lot of what we have there. But it was fun. It was really a cool experience being there as well. So the first week we come in and we're experiencing all those different things, and just kind of getting used to it. I think we didn't have water for the first little while we were out there. Something had gone wrong, and so that was an interesting experience too, and it was good though. I guess the people that met me there when I got there the first day, they'd done actually like hamburgers and tried to cook some potatoes or some fries, I guess they called them chips there, just had attempted to do it, and they did a pretty good job, and it tasted really good. So it was a good first meal out there, and probably one of the last hamburgers I had for a long time, But yeah, I think that was my first companion, who was from Zimbabwe actually. His name was Ella Chitenda, and so he was a really good guy. He was the district leader out there, and so I drove, and we used to drive. I was originally kind of like the chauffeur almost for a while, having to drive from one city to another for the districts that he was in charge of, or the not districts but the missionaries he was in charge of. We went all over the place for that, and yeah, it was pretty cool. We had a blast, and he taught. I guess we learned a lot from the first companion you have. You learn a ton from them. They kind of teach you all the ropes and get you going when you think you know a lot more than you do. You're glad to have them there to help discuss and to figure things out and teach you things while you're there. And but yeah, I guess that's all I can really think about for the first week.